All right, welcome back. We are going to get to modeling this feature here that I'm calling the tower with holes. We'll go ahead and make this one starting off with a new document, ID underscore first name underscore tower with holes. We are going to measure, this one's in inches, so the default is in inches, but just if you want to check, go to workspace units, make sure that you see inch there for your workspace. So starting out, I'm going to model this thing from the bottom up. So I'm going to create this cylinder at the bottom. I'm going to make the tower. I'm going to make the top, and then I'm going to put the 3 holes in the middle. So let's start out with the bottom cylinder. The bottom cylinder is a 1.25 diameter circle that is extruded up a ½ inch. So let's start with that. So starting on my top plane, I'm going to create a circle, center point circle in the middle, 1.25 diameter circle, and we are going to then finish the sketch and extrude that up 0.5. All right, there's my bottom. Now notice that I started with a circle that was centered on the origin. That allows me to use that origin later to build off of. So I have my first part. I'm going to hide the other 3 planes, and now I'm going to sketch that square that goes on top. That square on top is a dimension that is a little bit hidden if you look at this drawing. So we're going to have to use some space here. So 0.25, if you look here, this 0.25 is from the center of the circles to the edge. So this is a ½ inch wide, and I believe it's a ½ inch by ½ inch. So we're going to go ahead and model that and see if it looks right. Sometimes you're not given full images. So sketching on the top of that shape, navigate to my top plane, move that into view. I'm going to do a center point rectangle right on the middle, and it's going to be 0.5 by 0.5. I believe that looks pretty good. All right, so sometimes you're given drawings that don't necessarily show every dimension. Remember, we don't want to over dimension. So if things can be gathered or inferred from dimensions that are already labeled, we should be able to figure out the dimensions from that drawing. That's always what you want. You never want to over dimension an object. All right, so continuing there, we'll go back to isometric view, and our height of this thing is also a little bit hidden. We're going to have to do some figuring out here. It's 2.5 inches tall. We know that the top is 1/4 of an inch, so that brings our number down to 2.25, and then we're going to take off another ½ inch for the bottom piece here. So that means our total is 2.5 minus 0.25 minus a half, so we're looking at 1.75 for the height of that square in the middle of the tower. So extrude, click on our square, 1.75, and we should have a good looking tower there. The next step is going to be creating the top circle. The top circle is the same diameter as the bottom circle, so 1.125, and it is 0.25 as an extrusion. So sketching, again on the top. This is again where my centering on the origin helps me a lot and makes this a lot faster. Because now I can do a center point circle. I can extrude it out. 1.25 should be the same as the bottom circle. Finish that sketch and you'll see it kind of floating there. Then I can go ahead and extrude. Be careful with this extrusion. You need to click. If I click just the circle, look that it gives me this little hole. I've also got to click the square that's in the middle so that it will add that part on there. Remember, it's 0.25 tall, so that little disc on top. So make sure that you click the entire shape, including the center. If you try to extrude just that outside edge with the hole in the middle, it's not going to add it. It'll make it a new part because it's not connected. So we're going to make sure that it's connected. We're going to click on all of those parts. All right, there is the basic shape of my tower. Now I need to go through and put these holes in. They are a 1/4 inch hole. They are a through hole. This THRU, that's how you spell through when you're talking a through hole in this. And then it says typical, TYP. We'll talk about that when we label it. That just means that all of them are the same. So you only have to label one. Again, talking about not over dimensioning. You do not have to label and dimension every hole. They are a ½ inch apart going up through the center, all right, and a 1/4 inch from the side. So they are in the center of this block, and they are a ½ inch apart from the bottom. So let's go ahead and start doing this. I'm going to sketch, I want to go back to my isometric so I can make sure I get the front plane. On the front of this object is where I'm going to sketch these holes. So there's my front plane. I'll navigate to it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place in the center. So as we mouse over, you can get to the center this little yellow line will pop up, and I'm going to go ahead and place a hole down here, 0.5, put a circle, just kidding, 0.25, and it moved it way down there. We don't want it there, we want it up here. Okay, somewhere there. And then I'm going to show you another way we can do it. We can copy and paste, and copy and paste, and we can get 3 holes there that are kind of lined up. We want to make sure that they're in the center, so I'm going to drag them until I see that little yellow line popping up. That'll allow them to be locked on now to the center. I can't move them left or right. And now all I need to do is set them, that one on automatically locked somewhere. Okay, we want to go ahead and hit our dimensions. We're going to go 1/2 inch from the center to the bottom, set that at 0.5, and then from this one to the next one, that's also at 0.5, and then from the middle one to the top one, again 0.5. All right, so there are all of my circles dimensioned in there. I'm going to clean this up just for you guys, but when we do our drawing, that's where it matters that those are stacked and cleaned up. When we're doing this drawing, it doesn't necessarily, it helps to be able to see it. So I'm going to drag these over to the space if I can. There we go, and the last one. All right, so those are all 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, and my holes. So now I need to extrude them through, and I can click on all 3 of them. It's going to automatically do add, but that's not what we want. We want to remove, and we want to go through. So that's where we're going to hit this blind drop-down menu, and we're going to go through all, and that's going to put the holes in it for us. All right, so there is our part. Now what I'm asking you guys to do is the next step. That's in step 11. So let me navigate there really quickly all the way down to step 11. It says to make these into a semi-spherical scoop instead of a through hole. So we're going to undo the extrusion we just did, and we're going to make these scoops in there. All right, we're going to revolve a semicircle. So we're going to create a line down the middle, and we're going to use a construction line to do that, and then we're going to revolve it. Okay, so check this out. So I'm just going to undo this extrusion, delete it. We still got our holes there, but they do not have any markings on the middle. So I'm going to go edit, double click on my sketch 4, and I'm going to create a line. I'm going to hit, all right, we'll do our revolve now. And we'll click half of these, half of these, half of these. And our revolve axis is going to be that line that we just created. We're going to remove it, not extrude it, and that will give us these little scoops in there. Okay, now we need to create the drawing to make it look exactly like the one that we just did, which was in the previous step. At the bottom here is our diagram here. We need to label all of these dimensions on our drawing. So let's go ahead and create a drawing. Right click on your part, create the part, add the 4 views. Should load. All right, we're going to go down to this one. We'll start here. So dimensioning this part, let's start with all these 1/2 inches. We've got a 1/2 inch down here. We've got a 1/2 inch from the center to the edge. In between each hole. And these are looking very large and messy because my drawing is so small. So I'm going to actually real quickly change the scale to double click on one of my drawings and change this sheet to maybe a 1x1. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so that way we can see things a little bit closer. All right, so we've got these labeled. We're going to adjust our markers here, make everything look like it's supposed to. In the middle, bring my 5 down there. This one also in the middle, bring this 5 in the middle there. So there's my 0.5s for all of those. Next I need the full height at 2.5 from bottom to top. So bottom, or top to bottom there, 2.5, slide that out here. And then it had the center to the edge marked at 0.25. And what else do we need? The thickness of the top at 0.25 and the diameter of the hole. So diameter of the hole is 0.25 and this thickness of the top here is 0.25 as well. I believe that may be all of that on this one. They've got all these to 2 decimal places, it looks like. Some of them 1, some of them 2. You can adjust the accuracy of both of them. So I can go to each of these and change them to just 1 decimal place. Dropping down here. And 1 more. And it has moved my arrows on the outside again. So something like that, 0.5, and then we can change them all to just be precision of 2 decimal places, the rest of everything. All right. So there's that diagram. On the top face, we have to show hidden lines and then just the diameter of the overall shape. So let's go ahead and right click, show hide, show hidden lines. It's going to see that there. We don't need to do that dimension because it's already labeled. We can go ahead and hit the outside dimension here for the rectangle or the circle, and we're good to go. We do not need this view, and we'll change our isometric to a shaded view. All right, so there you are. That's the one that you need to turn in, take a screenshot of, and post. Thank you.